Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Justin the Food Entrepreneur Show. I'm Justin Bizzarro. I'm your host. That's Bizzarro. If you want to find us on social media, you can find us on Instagram at Justin the Food Entrepreneurs. You can find me at Justin Bizzarro, and you can find our food and beverage community at Gorilla Brave. That's all on Instagram for you guys. With that being said, we're going to jump right into it. I have Mebruka Kane with us today from Philadelphia. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Justin? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it's Doro Bet fried chicken. And I like fried chicken's my favorite food group. I love burgers too, but I once did so much fried chicken product distribution. It was definitely in our warehouse. It smelled everywhere, all the breadings, all the flours, all the salts, all the brines. We actually had a food trailer that was a fried chicken food trailer. So this holds a very special place in my heart. And being on the East Coast, fried chicken's a big deal for us. So talk to me about Doro Bet. Talk to me about your story. How'd you become an entrepreneur all the way from the little U to the big U? And the mic is yours.
All right. Well, entrepreneurship is something our mom taught us. Like we've always, our mom was a very hardworking person. You know, my parents had 11 kids, the youngest of 11. And then my father passed away when I was 3 months. So my mom had 11 kids, and then had to take over, just raising us, the business and everything. Our dad used to be a business person. So I've always watched her work around the clock. So that the business part comes from that. But she was also, a good homemaker. So it was really important for her that we learned how to cook just, for us. And she taught me everything when I was 10, pretty much. So it's just she was an inspiration for us. And Doro Bet's story started, during the pandemic is when my sister Hayat, who is my business partner, just told me one day randomly, she's like, all right, we're not working, everybody was home, bored. So she saw a sign in West Philly for lease, a place. She took it. But she told me after the fact, she's like, we're opening our own business. We've always said we would because we love to host and we're always having friends over and we're always cooking and everybody's like, you need to open your own place. But, we were busy raising our families and all that. So she did that. And we dove into Alif, coffee house, Ethiopian food. And it was just so great to be able to do that and, being accepted by the community and just it's a lot of work, but it brings you so much joy and pleasure. So we did that. It was a success. And then Doro Bet's idea came again. It was starting in the pandemic. We're at home, we're cooking a lot. I've been in the restaurant business, both me and my husband, but our kids were at that age where they would only eat chicken nuggets or, but I wanted them to have that Ethiopian flavors in there at least. So my husband started making, using Ethiopian spices to make chicken fingers, whatnot for them. And then I really liked it. It tastes good. I've never been a fried chicken person, but if it tastes like this, I could eat this. And then when we found a place, that was my idea. And, Ethiopia being we produce teff flour, which is grain, naturally gluten-free. So that was the business part. I was like, why don't we make fried chicken, but we will use teff flour so that it is gluten-free. And we tried it. It worked out. And, we're doing it.
Okay. One of the things is I just can't, there's this whole big energy coming out about this. And I have a lot of questions, a lot of wanting to focus, especially you're a rising star as a chef. That's how you sort of came onto my radar. And so I want to go back for a second. Let's talk about Ethiopian food in general. What makes it unique? How is it different than stereotypical food in the United States? Let's draw a comparison there because my first exposure to it, I was 13 years old, which I don't think many people are exposed to it in general. But I grew up
No.
near DC, and I was fortunate enough to go to a diverse school in terms of international students.
Hmm.
And I was able to get a lot of exposure to food through that diversity of international students. And so, but let's talk about Ethiopian food. Let's talk about what makes it unique, why you love it, the flavors, all of that.
Yeah. So, first of all, Ethiopian food, like it's every household has a different version of the spices because every household makes their own spices. You really just don't go and buy your berbere or cardamom, you make it in the house. So that makes it unique. That shows like how much love is put towards making our food. Like it's personal. And it is, it's food that is like most of the Ethiopian food is stew. So, and then the stew takes a lot of time, a lot of patience. So, you take that time to make your food and, it's pretty much like farm to table. Like, you know what you're making. Like if you're making chicken, you're slaughtering the chicken right there, like, going through the whole process. It's all done in the house. And, again, I remember being 10 years old and my mom sitting me down. She has a chicken, I have a chicken. We're like, disassembling this chicken at 10 years old and then you use everything. But it's a kind of cuisine that really takes a lot of patience. You put your time on it, and it's important. And then we use very like warm spices. It's not always just spicy. We have the main dish berbere, which is like a chili powder that is made, in different ways in every household, but has that like warm, spicy feeling. But we use, lots of turmeric, cardamom, ginger, garlic, all that. And not only making it is a process, but eating the food is also a process. You always eat as a family. You eat from like a big platter and you share one platter. Everybody sits around and then you eat it with the injera, which is the flour, bread, a little bit of fermentation. You use that as your utensils pretty much. So you use your hand. So there is a lot of like very like close relationship with food, and that's how I knew food. That's how I grew up. You know, my relationship with food has been that. So it's just, yeah, it's a very different flavors. That it's so many different flavors in one plate. And
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
The bread's a little bit sour, correct?
The bread is, yes. Yeah. So it gets fermented a little bit. So it has that sourness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Let's talk about like, okay, you come up with the idea of now having the Ethiopian chicken house. What is it like to build it, market it, introduce people to Ethiopian food? And maybe it's not something that's as well known. Do I think it's a food that could boom no different than Japanese or Chinese food? Absolutely. Or Korean
Hmm.
food? Absolutely. But talk to me about, because you're building, in a way, you're building an industry. I wouldn't say a restaurant industry, but it's an industry within African cuisine, specifically within Ethiopian cuisine. So you're having to introduce it to a market that maybe hasn't seen much of it before. How do you do that? How do you bring this to everyone, introduce it to the palate?
So the thing is, fried chicken is not even an Ethiopian thing, to be honest. Like we don't do a lot of fried food. So this process was not only, a process of introducing, the American public to this, but also like the Ethiopian community to make them understand that, we can make fusions. It's fun to make fusions. And maybe, some people are like they like to eat their own food, but it's like I'm using our spices. So you might think you don't like fried chicken or, something different, but if it tastes familiar, you might want to do it. And then with the American public as well, it was just like, I just wanted to make a fusion because we live here now, we are here. As I said, my kids, my nieces and nephews, they're more into the American culture than they are in Ethiopian culture. But when you bring it together, I feel like it brings some sort of like pride, everybody can enjoy it. So, I've always made it clear that this is not your traditional Ethiopian food. No, the traditional would be, your big platter, the injera and everything, which we have some traditional items in Doro Bet as well. But this is a fusion. Give me a chance. All all it is, very flavorful fried chicken. That was my sell, and it happens to be gluten free. I wanted to make it, a celiac friendly place, just because why not? We have that F, that's a good business point, and I was just like, please eat good food, like it tastes really good, and give me a chance. And I feel like people from both, like even Ethiopian community, even the older generations are trying it, and they're like, oh, this tastes exactly like the stew that we use, but in a different form. So it's been accepted.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's obviously getting momentum. I see the comments. I see the the response to it. There's probably some newspapers and TV that have been around it, as well as I've done my research that has helped make it palatable. As they broadcast, it almost becomes credible. I don't know why that is, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
good.
publicity is really great, and to be recognized like that is just amazing. Just like doing this podcast with you and all that. People giving us the time is like what really like grateful for. You're giving me your platform, you're giving me your time, and letting me introduce what I love to do, and that is so important to me. It's like great relationship with food, and I'm bringing out like what I grew up with, but mixing it with the American culture, and it's just like very grateful for.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of room. Like everyone's always like chicken and burgers and pizza, and they're saturated markets. But as long as population grows, as long as we stay creative in our ventures, there's always room in those categories.
Absolutely, yes.
And we're talking about
Yeah.
that here. That's why I like it so much. It's taken something traditional in many ways to cultures that are traditional in many ways, and then combine them. And that's the way it should be. That's the way food should be. That's the way food's always been, especially ever since we've been trading along the spice roads back in the day, and then the Dutch trading companies. And just so the Dutch still have owned farms all over the world and still are the major traders of food. And actually they own, I think they're the second or third largest country in the world to own farmland in the United States. They own most of our grocery stores, their corporations. So I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that in life, because of companies like this, because of business like this, fusion happens now. It's part of the
Oh,
process.
absolutely. It is part of, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah, I totally agree with you. Yes.
talk
Because,
to me
we're
about,
all from
yeah,
different part of the world. So
yeah. Talk to me about the actual building of a business, finding equipment, employees, learning payroll, managing budgets, because that's all something you have to do as an entrepreneur. Like the food starts to, do well, you develop a menu. Now you've got to take care of all the other pieces.
yes. So to be honest with you, that most of that part is my sister. She does most of the business part. But, as two women trying to start a business, I know that, we went through a lot, like, nonstop research for, to get equipment. Like for Doro Bet, the place was already established, like it was a restaurant. So we had most of the equipment. We got it. So it was good. But, like working with our accountant, like how much can we put? And then you know I mean, we've done so many like Facebook markets, this and this, trying to like save money, and there were so many restaurants that were closing unfortunately at that time. So we will be driving 2 hours in Maryland to grab something, and 1 hour in Jersey to grab one thing. But so she was very good in like finding those things, and I was mainly focused in just coming up with the menu and just running like the day-to-day restaurant part of it. And employees, it's we're very small. So, I work there full time, but we do have few employees that we found really just from the neighborhood, pretty much, and it's been working very well. But the business part, most of like the business side of part is my sister.
Let talk to me about the relationship there, business partnership. It's also a family relationship. You grew up with 11 siblings. Were you and your sister always close? Is this something, let's talk about the relationship there and the business relationship, if you don't mind, because I think it's important to have the support that you guys have in one another.
Yeah, we've always been a very close family, and all of us really, but especially my sister Hyatt and I have we're closer by with age as well. So we've always been very, very close. But like it's challenging to do when you're starting to do a business together. It's very challenging, especially this business. I feel like because you're working all the time. It's a lot. It's demanding. So you're tired. You get irritated. There are some challenging parts, but you have to be able to separate the business from personal. That's my sister. I love you, but if it's business, we're going to talk business like partners. And I think that helped us a lot because we try and not mix, the two. When we're at family gatherings and we're doing a family thing, we're just doing family thing. And then when it's business time, we'll sit around and talk. And yeah, it's funny. I always think like our tones change when we call each other for business or for like, hey, how you doing? Kind of. But yeah, it is definitely challenging doing it with family. But at the same time, I don't think I would ever get like the kind of support that I have from her or from all our other siblings if it was from, with somebody else. Like it's just we're very close and we're always supporting each other. So it's working for us with all the challenges.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, and you're obviously the one that your superpower is the food and the relationship with the food and things like that. And she's doing business. Talk to me a little bit about the relationship with your customers, feedback. How do you stay in tune with them? How do you make sure your recipes are the right recipes or the food or take something off your menu, put something on? How do you make sure that that's like constantly being, I don't know, felt?
Yes. Yeah, so we do, we have like our regular menu, and then to keep things interesting and to bring, certain new things for our customers, we always kind of like run specials. And that's like, I love doing that. I do that for Doro Bet. I do that for Alif. Every week I come up with something different, whether it's wings or a salad or some desserts. So that I think makes it interesting and it keeps our customer coming back, like how many times are you going to have like the same thing? Which is, there's nothing wrong, I eat the same thing every day, but it's always great to be like, hey, I made that. Or, if I have a customer that really liked, a special I ran like a couple weeks ago, I'll rerun it. And I see them, most of our customers are repeat customers, really. Like I feel like we're very fortunate. Like we know them, by a first name basis most of the time. Like, we have a lot of families that come to us. And sometimes even like through the Uber Eats and DoorDash, like I've never seen these people, but I see their names come up like, you know, once or twice a week and they're ordering this thing. So, I send them a little note with their food or something like that. So, having repeat customers is great. And as I said, we try to run specials, make it interesting. You like it, I'll let you know, like, hey, next week I'm gonna run that thing you really liked a few weeks ago. And I can see how much they appreciate it. And, yeah. My plan is to just, make people happy through food. And, and I'm always there to take, you know, whatever ideas people don't like something, I can see, I can omit it. But so far, that's just like the relationship we build. It's like it's a little family, They come in, I know their kids, they know my kids, and there are so many times that I take my kids to work because that's just how it is, I'm busy, there's no school, my kids come there, they help out, and like the neighborhood, they know them. So the kind of relationship we have.
Yeah, it's amazing. What is your most popular items? Is the fried chicken the most popular item? And if it's what if it is the fried chicken, what else are the most popular? Let's talk about your menu a little bit, how you designed it. Yeah, go
So the
ahead.
fried chicken, mild flavor fried chicken, I think is the most popular one, which is the turmeric lemon. But also our crispy fried chicken sandwich is all very, very popular, I would say. Those two, yeah, those two are the high tops, but like the vegan option, the fried mushrooms for from like the vegan side, the fried mushrooms are extremely popular as well.
When you designed your menu or you've worked on your menu, it's chicken based, obviously the name of it, but
Hmm.
talk to me about the menu itself, laying it out in your mind as a chef. How did you sort of build it out to to make sure you covered certain areas with your experience? Because you have the experience, obviously. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, so Doro Bet literally translates as chicken house. So the main thing I knew was going to be chicken, fried chicken. But I also wanted to have that vegan option because like not everyone eats chicken. So for that, we did fried mushroom that looks just like the chicken, same spices, but vegan option. And then I also, being it, Ethiopian restaurant, I wanted to have some Ethiopian items, like traditional items. So I went with the Doro Bet, which is a popular chicken stew, and then mild version of the tips, the like sauteed chicken. And then, we also have another restaurant, Salam, which is like a Middle Eastern fusion. So I also wanted to put that. We do a lot of Middle Eastern cooking in our household as well. So we did chicken shawarma, and that would, the shawarma would be like not fried. So like, for people that don't want, fried food, they have the chicken shawarma that they can have as a wrap or as a salad. So, I try to do like, yes, fried food is what we're known for, but let's say, a family comes in, we all eat differently. So some, I don't know, grandma might not like fried food, or maybe she can't have it. So they can have, the shawarma, spit roast chicken. And then, somebody might be vegan, so they can have, the vegan options. So, I wanted to make sure that even when you come as a group, that there is something at least for everyone.
Love it. You mentioned multiple restaurants. Is that correct? Can we talk about those as well?
Yes, so we have a leaf brew on 4501 Baltimore Avenue. That was our first. That's my sister's, Hyatt. It is an Ethiopian coffee house with traditional Ethiopian eat. And then Salam is in Germantown. That is like an Ethiopian Middle Eastern fusion. And then Doro Bet.
Awesome. I mean, you always loved cooking?
Yeah. Uh, yeah. It's something that I've always enjoyed doing just personally, but it's just not me. It's like my whole family cooks, and we do really big like gatherings. I mean, we are a big family. I've always loved cooking, but I haven't taken it as like a business until we opened Ali. I am married to a chef, a professional chef. Like, so he was back of the house. He was the chef when I was, in the restaurant industry. I was mostly front of the house. But personally, I've always loved to cook. But I knew that what I would like to cook would be like Ethiopian food or something, that like
Yeah.
that has some Ethiopian. And yeah, it's always been, yeah, I enjoy it. I actually enjoy it.
Lessons learned, like since moving into the cooking professionally, we'll call it, into the cooking professionally realm, moving into the restaurants, cooking for others, growth. Talk to me about growth, things you've learned.
Oh,
Yeah.
the first thing I said, like, I don't know, my first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I went to my husband. I'm like, I don't know how we did this. Like, it's like I'm sore. Like it's a lot. You're chopping. You're like, I'm like my shoulder hit. He's like, yeah, because you're chopping all the time, and you're moving the fryer and all that. It definitely, teaches you that it's not the same as cooking, for my family or that. Like, and you have to factor in, like, sometimes, you get a call out, so you're on your own, like, running different stations, all that, lots of challenges. So a lot of appreciation for people, who've been doing this for so long. But now I can cook faster. I can, I can manage a lot of things. It's crazy how you learn. You just, you just learn and you do it. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know I was capable of this, but now I am.
What do you enjoy the most about it? Your day to day, your life right now, being in the restaurants.
I enjoy like I enjoy my kids' pride. Like, when we get like these like awards or we get mentioned on, newspaper or whatever, like they hear us. I don't think they pay attention, but I go to their school and everyone at school is telling me, "Oh my God, they've been telling us about this. Congratulations." So, the fact that they actually notice and they go to school and talk about it, that just means that it means something. That means like they're so proud, and like that by itself is just amazing. And then it's really just like, being with my customers. I've had a lot of people that were like, I love fried chicken, but like gluten free, like people who are celiac. Like, there was this guy who is from the South, I believe, but he has celiac disease. So he literally was like, I'm going to cry. Like, I'm so happy. And I'm like, I'm going to cry. You're making me, So those moments when people are just like really happy on, it's just food, but it's making them so happy. And it makes me so happy, brings me so much joy. So that interaction with my, customers is great. But like my kids' version of it, it's just like they're like, "Mommy has the best restaurant," and I'm just like, "Okay," it's amazing.
Well, word did reach me in Denver for sure. But this, as I did this season, defining it as restarting and launching in December for another
Yeah.
season, I asked friends and family and people I knew for recommendations this time, instead of sort of just searching my way through it and trying to find unique brands and stuff. I actually asked people if they knew someone or ate somewhere or had something that was unique, that was outstanding, that wasn't a chain or a corporation, since it is an entrepreneur
Yeah.
show. And although I guess there are entrepreneurs that have chains, I'm not saying that, but in general, I was looking for the smaller story for my customer base, which I'll call the listeners, and they want to grow. But I think one of the things that I found is that I had multiples recommend you guys from a fried chicken standpoint, which I thought was impressive, that multiple individuals talked about the fried chicken and the uniqueness of it, and that it was gluten-free, as well as the vegan options, because we do live in a world where vegan dietary needs are on menus, no different than gluten. It's just going to become a standard. Yep. Individuals are living this way. So I'm very impressed, and I'm very, for the audience, one of the things that I think is very important here is she followed a passion, her heart, into doing something. She did it through a support system. She had both her husband, a family, but also her sister. I think this is important to note along the journey here. That support systems, fellowship, maybe it's not family, but you should have some fellowship and some individuals around you. Maybe they're not even in the same industry, but you need something to help keep you balanced during these times as an entrepreneur, especially during the earlier years. But it's no different than marriage, guys, in business. And I don't know how else to express it to anyone, that they always ask me. It's like everyone talks about a 7-year itch or a 20-year break, stress point in marriages as being the two key points or whatever, for whatever reason. I'm not sure. But it's similar to that. About 7 years into your business literally is usually a make or break point. Like, you can really excel if you've really done and worked on your business. There's a hockey stick effect in about, 7 years. We'll just call it that. Yeah. It's not true for everyone, but it's about that.
Definitely.
And then the 20 years is where you start growing and things get comfortable and everyone's become comfortable because of the growth of a family. Maybe it's children or the growth of the business, employees, responsibilities. The relationship isn't as strong between the individuals in theory. And it's the same in business too. In theory, your relationship with your business is not as strong as it was when you first started because you aren't in it and with it and involved in it. And now it's bigger and there's some more responsibilities. So I want to emphasize that with everyone that support system helps keep us in check. Okay.
Very, very important. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And so let's talk about my last question, at least for now. One of the things I see in comments in the restaurants is freshness of ingredients, freshness of product. Like, obviously, that's important. You guys, you aren't buying pre-made stuff. Let's talk about that. The importance of making everything. I think you guys literally make everything.
We make everything fresh. So, we buy small, like we have, our mushrooms delivered by local farm. We have our chicken from a smaller company, halal made. So that gets delivered. We sourced out our vegetables ourselves. Really, I go shopping and buy everything myself. So everything is fresh and we make it in the house. Some spices we bring from home from Ethiopia because it's just, it's better made there. Like my sister who lives in Ethiopia makes it for us and ships it for us, all our berbere and cardamoms and all that. So it's as fresh as it gets, really. We do our shoppings ourselves. Get all the fresh. Yeah, we're local, fresh things.
Yeah, I love it. The local, you have a relationship with the food. I also think it's cool that you're having stuff shipped from Ethiopia because potentially if your business grows and you need more of it, there's a business that can be built in Ethiopia.
Absolutely.
And that is one of the things that people always ask me about philanthropy and stuff like that as businesses. And I'm always like, the best thing we can do is export knowledge and help others and allow them to build industry wherever they are.
Yeah.
And it's no different than this
Totally.
podcast. Like everyone's like, oh, what is the thing? I was like, what's the most shocking thing? I was like, the most shocking thing to me is the individuals all over the world that are learning to build entrepreneurism or businesses in their countries. 133 plus countries. I think it was 139 the other day when we looked.
Oh, wow.
37.
That's nice.
But the thing is, it's not, I get attached to the human construct of the number, of course, because we're humans and we like winning and feeling successful. But really what we're talking about here is that the information is needed around the world in the same format. And I always talked about it from a business standpoint. The best thing I can do is work with the farmers that are already there, and say, hey, I need this, give it to me. If you grow it, all of it, and you grow this in this season, this in this season, this in that season, I will buy it because we had the volumes to do that. But that's what we're talking about here. And then if they need help to do it, then we help get them the knowledge to do it. Okay. That's the difference. We don't just be like, oh, there's a business opportunity, I'm going to take over their business. Because honestly, I don't know how to say this. It doesn't usually win for everyone. There's times to vertically integrate and there's times to build a system, a food system that you're growing and raising the water in the industry for everyone. And there is a difference, and it's key to know that because so many people, vertical and horizontal integration is a big deal. But if we don't understand that we have to build industries as we do that to support those verticals and horizontals, then they're not there. So the Ethiopian thing was a great example. I appreciate that with this.
Totally agree.
Social media, all the stuff that you guys do, it's very captivating. You have practice at it. Talk to me about that because it's very powerful for a powerful statement. It gives your energy. It gives your flow. Who handles all of that? Where is it coming from? Because it's very well done.
Oh, thank you. So I have a friend, a coworker that I've worked with in different restaurants for a long time. And she does this on the side, Amanda, did you? So when we opened, she offered to run our social media. I am not good at it. I really am not. But she does that. She comes in, annoys me. She's like, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do this. And I'm like, oh, leave me alone. But I do see how it works. It is the social media, time now. Like everything is there. So I can't take that credit. She does it all. I just show up, I do what she tells me to do.
Love it. And mentors, people that have invested in you, helped you grow, anyone you want to thank, but also tell us what they taught you, the importance of them in your life. Maybe it's your sister, your husband, other family members, parents. I don't know. We touched upon it a little bit,
Yeah,
but let's talk.
definitely. Yeah, like my husband really, like, he helped me, like when we started, like, he set everything up for me because he's way more experienced at this. And again, it made me appreciate like how much he's always been working. It's not an easy job, but it's something that you can do if you have the passion for it. So I really want to thank him and my whole family, like, siblings. When I say like we help each other, we literally just drop everything. And like if somebody is focusing on something, we all come together and make sure that that focus gets where they need it to be. So that kind of, support, having that was amazing. And, it's all about the community and people, right? Like Amanda, my friend, coming in saying that what you need is, social media. Like I didn't know that. And then, she took the initiative. She started this and got us all these followers and all that. So like I just have so many, amazing friends that from this industry, like especially I feel like the restaurant industry is like different kind of breed. Like we really help each other out and, ideas and everything. So I'm very thankful that, I'm in this business with these amazing, hard working people all over, and I can count on, all of them, really.
Yeah, it's incredible. The net there's something different about food, restaurants,
Yeah.
on the entrepreneur level, on the building level, the growth level. And it's a network that's internationally understood. I think we just talked about that with all the individuals internationally, and just in some of the most random places of thing and around the world, I've developed relationships, Somalia, Zambia, United Arab Emirates, Palestine, China. Actually, like there's people that listen to it in China, and I'm like, whoa, this is an
Amazing.
interesting thing. And they're building restaurants there and restaurateurs. And, you're just like, oh, like our impact and our ability to have influence on the world is greater than we could ever imagine. And when we put it with food, the, the vehicle of food, which is something that'll never go away, and it's something that's always existed. It's interesting what happens. It's also interesting the way the food community comes together always. We saw it during COVID. We saw it during any ups and downs in any city, hurricanes, whatever. There is a bond there. Is there anything else you want to add before we finish things off?
Yeah, I think we did it all. I just want to say thank you so much for having me. You know, it's this kind of recognition and giving us the opportunity, the space that keeps us going. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I wonder too if your children are getting involved in the business and what that's going to look like too, because I can see if they're proud of their mom, that they'll too want to take up the business as well, and you're building a legacy.
Yeah, we let them. They think they can cook now. Yeah, they are always like, do you know that you can make this? You can make this. It's fun to watch them, but for now, it's just like the fact that they see us working, and it's like it's possible. You can do different things, and yeah, they're happy. So who knows?
Absolutely. Where
Who
can
knows?
they find you guys again? And will you give the locations of your restaurants and the social media for the audience, please?
Sure. So we are located at 4533 Baltimore Avenue in Philadelphia. And then our social media is Doro Bet _ Philly. DOROBET_WPHILLY. Yeah, we have all the specials we run and everything would be always on our social media. Come find us, please.
Yeah, awesome. Thank
Give
you
us a
so much.
follow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for your time. And yes, everyone, please, that's how you can support the entrepreneurs. Follow them on social media. In Philadelphia, try these restaurants, guys. If it's coming at me and it's recommended as heavily as it is, you don't want to miss it. There's probably going to be lines soon. Things like this gain popularity very quickly once they start to grow and word of mouth starts to really take off. So get into Philadelphia and try it. Promise, from what I've heard, it is worth it. I'm going to try to get to the East Coast and try it myself here soon. I have family members out there, so it's an excuse to go. And everyone in the audience, please like, share, subscribe to the show. If you like this episode, share the episode, friends, family. That's how the name continues to get out there. That's how we help the entrepreneurs who are in turn helping other entrepreneurs, as we just discussed, all over the world, learn and grow and become entrepreneurs in their own places. Because in the United States and in a lot of times in families, we have generations of entrepreneurism, but there's parts of the world or families that don't have that compounding. So we're trying to give it to everyone in that way. And the entrepreneurs come on here, they talk about their businesses to give themselves exposure and recognition, but also they have kind hearts and loving hearts. And you can see that the food community, they're being able to release so many podcasts at a time just means there's so many individuals out there that want to share their story and help the community as a whole and build the industry as a whole. That's important, guys. There's a lot of selflessness in restaurateurs and in food. So I'm going to anchor this episode with that. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you for what you do, Justin. Thank you.
Thank you. And I love everyone. I love you guys, and we're out.